Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome to the spiritual discussion panel. I'm sorry for the delay, we had some network issues. Hello, Namaste. Thank you Linda. God bless you. Welcome everyone. We'll just wait for a couple minutes to begin. I'm sorry for the delay. We had some network issues today. Namaste, Veni. And Tassina Gewin. I hope I can call you something that's really easier to call. Say, your name is pretty hard to pronounce. Sorry about that. Namaste everyone, welcome to the live spirit discussion panel. Hello Pei, welcome. Today we're going to speak about something very, very interesting, something that is relevant to each one of us, especially at this point, at this phase in our lives, and when you are spiritually awakened, and as for this planet too, whatever we seem to be facing around the world. Love you too. Thank you, Deborah. God bless you. Today we have this interesting topic about the God role in you. How does God play His role through each one of us? And what does it mean to be an ambassador of the one consciousness, which is what all of us are, each one of us are. Okay? And that's what we're going to be talking about. Hello, everyone. Hi, Karen and Liz. Welcome. Namaste. And this is going to be a very open topic. I would like this to be a very open topic instead of me just talking about something. I would like you all to express your views on the discussion. Please, no personal questions, and this is not a live session where I would do any readings for people. So that would be a different live session altogether. Hello everyone. So if you have any questions about yourself, your family, your loved ones, please wait for the live session where I do offer readings. In this one, we're just offering a spiritual discussion. Okay? God bless you all. Thank you. Welcome. Well, the God role in you. What made me, when I was looking for a topic for tonight's discussion, this came to me, this popped into my head out of nowhere, and I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that it has something to do with, I believe it has something to do with the way the universe wants each one of us here tonight to perceive how important we are to this galaxy, to this entire universe, and this dimension especially, and above all to each one of our lives and the people who are in our lives. So the God role in you is where we don't even just begin right now. We're talking about something that's been a part of you since creation, because as I've said before, we are all one, and there is no real hierarchy system on the other side as opposed to what we are used to in this dimension. So when we talk about the God role, it's representing the real you. It's representing the light we come from. It's representing the source that we belong to. And therefore, at this point of time, in this world where there's so many things happening every single day, I'm not just talking about the negative news that we read every day. I'm talking about generally everything. When we talk about life in general, when we talk about our experiences, both individually as well as collective experiences, we go through a wide range of emotions every day, in and out, and we meet so many people and we go through so many situations, different kinds of environments. Now, as the more we are exposed to each of these situations and environments and people, we tend to grow in some direction, and that is part of evolution, right? We're here to grow. And as we grow, what we see during the growth, what we experience, what we feel using all of our senses, is a part of the God project. I would say if the God project does not involve some mystical being of light somewhere out there. We are a part of that source. All right. Now, if I was to explain this with an analogy, I would say that, for instance, let's just think of a scientific experiment. Now, if you were given a box, or a really big box, and you don't know what's in that box because it's covered with black paper all over the place, and you've just got one gaping hole right in the middle where only your hand can fit in, you got to find out what's inside there. It could be anything, all right? It could be just anything, but you can't see it. So you want to experience it, and your brain needs to program itself to understanding what's inside there. Now, your brain can't get into that box, only your hand can. So let's just say that the entire unit that you are is the God source. So in order for you to experience, your brain to understand and experience what is inside of that box, your hand needs to cooperate with the rest of your body to allow that process to happen, right? So you put your hand inside that box, through that little hole, you put your hand inside and you touch whatever's inside of that box. It could be anything. It could be a rubber ball. It could be a plant. It could be a flower. You know, it could be a book. It could be any object. It could even be a little hamster, you know. But while you're touching it, while you're feeling it, though you can't initially see it, your brain is trying to feel the texture, understand the texture. And that's pretty much how we understand and observe and learn everything that we have as souls since creation. Not just by using the brain. I'm not talking about the brain alone. I'm talking about the soul, the experience as a soul, through many incarnations, through many experiences, exposures, through multiple dimensions. We all experience by working together. So here you are in this little experiment. Please do not, I would like to request that during live session, please do not send me private messages because it's very distracting and I cannot respond anyway. Okay, so please wait. If you need to book a reading, whatever it is, please wait till the end of it. Thank you so much. So as I said, now while you're trying to feel that object or whatever it is inside of that box, your brain is trying to program and understand it. All right, you're trying to think, what could this be? If it's something furry, is it hard? Is it soft? Is it squishy? Is it dry? You know, what is it? So while you're thinking of all the possibilities, your mind is also, you know, bringing up images through your third eye. All right, through your third eye. Yes, your third eye has always been in use. Okay, so through your third eye, your brain is trying to think of different objects that could kind of mirror what you're feeling with your hands. So you see, the process of evolution itself involves working together as a team. So here we are, each one of us, as a representation of what the God Source wants to learn, experience. So you're not here thrown into some vague land to experience some vague life that you have no clue about. You don't know where you're headed. You don't know where you're sitting. You don't know what's going to happen to you for the next 10 minutes. You don't know if you're going to live for another 15 years or 5 minutes. None of us know any of that. And we think that this is it, you know, like you're just dumped here. But no, the truth is you are here with your own consent of your higher self to experience this, because we are representatives of the God Source. So the role of God itself is to experience life per se through multiple units. And we are these multiple units. All right? Now you see where this one consciousness bit comes in. You must have heard of this term all over the place, one consciousness. What is one consciousness? What do we think about when we think about the word conscious? Conscious is when you're awake, when you're aware of what's happening. Right now, you're aware. You're sitting there, you're watching me speak. You're absorbing everything. You're looking at the colors. You're using all of your senses. Not all of your senses. You know, you're using most of your senses. Your sight, your hearing. You even listen to me. You're seeing me. All of your senses. Most of your senses you're using. Now, this is where you're representing this experience for the God Source. What is the use of it? Why are you learning this? So that you will evolve. So what happens when you evolve? All of us will, our vibrations raise together. The one consciousness talks about the united state of consciousness, united state of awareness of the entire unit that has been created since way back. All right? So why is it that each one of us has to go out there and experience life in order for the one consciousness to understand what life is like at all? Why can't it just, if the one consciousness created everything, why is there even a need to experience it? Well, I would say that this dimension is very dense. It was designed so that for evolution, for you to rise up, you need something to teach you. You need something to take you there. Without anything, you cannot produce something. All right? You need something to give you something else, to take you somewhere. You need a vehicle. Now, without anything, you cannot simply just raise your vibration to a different level. You need a process to get you there. And therefore, evolution is a process that gets you there. How does evolution work? You need experiences. You need exposure. You need lessons. You need an environment that gives you all of this. And through multiple sources, multiple stimulation, and through, where each one of us can break up into multiple little units, as we call ourselves as souls, and, we come here and we experience this together in different formats. If there was just one of us, we could hardly do anything with it. If there was just 100 of us, there's hardly anything you can do with it. It had to take millions and billions of souls to create that effect that is required to raise the complete one consciousness vibration. And as each one of us, we are not here just merely I know we talk about souls and we talk about soul families and soulmates and twin flames and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's just terminology that helps us to understand, break things up into two little pieces, bite-sized pieces that are easy to understand. Now, that doesn't mean that you will never learn about the big picture. The big picture, I'll tell you, the big picture is very much, it's simpler. So when something is so simple, we tend to dismiss it as, oh yeah, right, that's it, but we like to, we like complicated stuff. Sometimes we don't like simple stuff. But when we talk about soul family and twin flames, it sounds more exciting. There's romance and there's a bit of family and there's people and you can relate to a lot of stuff. But when you talk about one consciousness, just think of a ball of light and you're just sitting there and you're like, a ball of light. So I come from a ball of light. So what about the ball of light? I mean, how would I know I even came from that ball of light? When you say something so simple, your brain does not digest it as easily as it would if I was to break it down into tiny pieces for you to understand better. So when we go out there and we experience life, each incarnation that you're here for, you're exposing yourself not just as a soul, but as a representation of the God source. So God, or the light source that you and I belong to, sees and experiences and absorbs everything that you put into effect through your everyday activities, your thoughts, your actions. All right? So you think now most of us would get nervous. So that means I've got to do everything right if I'm that big a responsibility. Well, I would say that no, that's not even required. There's no pressure whatsoever for you to be perfect. If each one of us was meant to be perfect, we wouldn't even need to be here. We're here because we're here to learn. We're here to evolve. We're here to, move from one level to the next. Make mistakes, learn from it, because no other dimension can teach you and I the things that we learned over here. All right? It teaches us to, understand that there is darkness and there is light. And in this dimension, it teaches you how to appreciate light more than if we didn't have this opportunity. And yesterday, it's certain events, every single day we're facing and we're experiencing all kinds of situations that make us question, how life is and how this world is and what is going to happen in the future. Every single day we hear about shootings here and there, people dying, all kinds of things. And then we wonder, why am I sitting here just feeling helpless? And what has God got to do with all of this? Well, I tell you that every single incident, no matter how absurd it sounds, no matter how much of a conspiracy it sounds like, everything has a purpose, has a role to play. Even if you and I may not understand it now, everything has a role to play. And the question that we always have to ask is, each one of us, is what do I, as an ambassador, as a representative of God, have to learn here? When you're representing the light source, you're here, you're important, you're precious. What you think is important, what you say means a lot to you and to the world at large. It does mean a lot to the world at large, because you are not just some person. You know, a lot of us, we feel hopeless and helpless in a situation. But let me tell you, that's the last thing you are. That's the last thing you are. Each one of us are so magnificent. You know, we just fail to see because we're so burdened by what this world does to us. We're so burdened by our problems and, you know, the everyday struggles. Oh, I've got to go to work. I've got to raise my children. I've got to do this. I've got bills to pay, and all of these things. And we just fail to even see beyond that. We're so busy in our individual lives. But the fact is, we are supposed to have a balance between us and others. Because others, the term others itself separates you from everyone else. When you think of God as something different other than who you are, and you think this is me and God is out there, everyone else is out there, this is me. I've got to take care of myself, I've got to feed myself. Yes, you have to, because you're here to experience it for yourself and as a representative. But you're also a part of the one consciousness. You're also a part of this world. You're also a part of God. You know, you are God in itself, in creation. It's not that you have to be incarnating as an ascended master to feel godlike. Godlike tendencies lie in each one of us. Because you are, when you belong to a certain source, obviously you take away a part of it. It belongs to you too. So if you think that God is out there, and God has to be worshipped, God has to be feared, I would say fear yourself. Fear yourself, respect yourself, love yourself. Because this is where God resides. This is where God resides. What you do, what you think, what you say is where God resides, because you're just like that little hen I told you. You put that into the box. The brain just visualizes this is God and this is you. But it's still the same thing, right? You can't say that my hand doesn't belong to me. Of course it does. That's pretty much how, if you were to separate yourself from the God source, this is what you would feel like. How can you detach your hand from the rest of you? You cannot. And therefore, you are experiencing life per se as a part, as God-like, as the source we come from. So we're all the same, each one of us. Okay? So the role that God plays in our lives is way more than you and I would dare think. We think, well, I would say this world with all its systems, you know, where unfortunately, or, you know, I wouldn't want to judge again, but I would say that certain religions and faiths, they make you think that God is a source out there, and you have to, I believe even in the spiritual community that happens, where you start to think that God is someone out there. Yes, we understand ascended masters and all of that, but sometimes we wonder, is there a God? Is there someone out there who is bigger and much more, you know, I would say right at the top of the hierarchy? Is there someone at all? If he is there, then, or she is there, you know, we should be fearing, or we should be loving, you know, but I would say that there is no difference between God and you, because you are representing God. So when you are experiencing something in life here, it's not like you're isolated. Don't ever feel alone and isolated. Don't think that you are sitting in a room and you just don't have anyone around you. Never mind your spirit guides, never mind the guardian angels and all of the others. But you cannot be alone. It's impossible to be alone as long as you are here. Because right here, this world is the only place where you can even feel this isolation. Because the culturing the culture, the mental culture, the conditioning that happens in this dimension dumbs you down into believing that you are alone. It isolates you. That's what it's supposed to do, because it has its own program to make you believe in, to stimulate your mind into thinking in different perspectives. It is meant to do that. When we have a spiritual awakening, it means that you learn how to connect once again. All right? That's what a spiritual awakening is, to awake to the realization that you are not alone, to realize that you are way more than what this world wants you to believe in. Okay? So far I have given you a basic outline of what the God role in you is. Do you have any questions for me to answer, or would you like to discuss anything? I would like to hear from all of you before I continue. Thank you so much. I don't know why I'm not able to see any of your messages much. Are you all commenting? I can't see your comments anymore. Can somebody put a new comment up? Can somebody put a new comment up, please? Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Because I think there's something wrong with the comments here. I'm not getting the recent ones. Okay, here. All right, now I see you. Thank you. Thank you. I'd just like to know if you all have any questions or you want to discuss something else. Well, I believe it has to be spoken. You know, sometimes we have to see the bigger picture, not just the itsy-bitsy ones, you know, where you talk about soulmates and starseeds. All of that is fine. It's exciting. But I believe there's a lot of people already talking about it, you know. I'm sorry, as I said earlier, those of you who are expecting predictions from me tonight, this is not a live session for readings. This is a live discussion panel. All right? Thank you. How to protect oneself from negative vibes so we are aware that we all in this part of the evolution process. Great question, Renusha. Well, I would say that, as I said earlier, you know, like for instance today, I would like to give an example today. I'm not going to mention any names here. But then again, you know, I feel that this is something that's been happening for quite a while. Whenever there is an attack somewhere where lives are lost and we're sitting over here at the end of the world, you know, and then you just put a post up and say, you know, my condolences, or you're feeling really sad about what happened and you feel bad about it, and then someone comes along and says it's fake. You know, I would say that there's a lot of information on the internet. The internet is one of the most powerful mediums ever created. All right, and the internet can do anything to just about anyone. It can build you up into a billionaire, and it has. It can also destroy you. As we know, there are so many games and apps and things like that that have destroyed lives. What I would like to say is, at the end of the day, this too is a form of stimulation. What you do with every tool, every medium that's presented in this world is up to you. If you choose to believe that everything is a conspiracy, everything is, you know, fake, and people are creating a huge, I mean, for whatever reason, political, any reason you name it, there are powerful sources who are, you know, creating this whole drama around every event that happens, that where it's portrayed in the media. I would say whatever it is, there is no harm in praying. There is no harm in asking that people who are affected be healed. At the end of the day, as people, as souls who are here to heal people, we are here to bless those who may or may not be injured, may or may not have lost their lives, may or may not have lost a family member. Now, what I would say is, we in these times, there is something happening almost every single day. You wake up to every morning. I don't even remember the last time when I woke up one morning and there was nothing flashing on my Facebook timeline that makes me feel sad or really upset or angry, disappointed. Because it's human nature to feel these things when you are bombarded on an everyday basis with some event or the other, where lives are lost or something is going wrong, and in some part of the world some catastrophe, something or the other, that drives you up, really, really sad, and you worry a lot about the world. But I would say that, at this point of time, what we should ask ourselves is, why do I have to be a part of this? Because you're here to be a part of this. Why am I seeing all of this? Because you're here to see this. What are you supposed to learn from this? Now that's something you have to ask yourself. What are you taking away from it? Don't take away fear from it. Don't take away pain from it. Take away the lesson of realizing that your job here at this point, in this dimension, is much more important than it has been for your ancestors. Because right now in this world, there's a lot of, fear, there's a lot of panic, there's a lot of disappointment, anger, they're all streaming in on a daily basis. And what's happening is a lot of people are being affected by this. And I'm talking about even light workers, people who are awakened. You start fearing, you start worrying. Now, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to respond to this whole thing? Why do I feel so helpless? Am I supposed to be a light worker? What am I supposed to do? I'm just sitting here on the other end of the world. What am I supposed to do? Well, pray. The power of prayer is way more powerful than you think. You see, the thing is, I would say that huge cults have been created. If you look at history, huge cults have been created to spread negativity. Think about even terrorism, for that matter. The terrorism started off, and I don't believe terrorism has a religion. I believe terrorism is a cult, is something that is of hatred, intense hatred. And all those people who have some form of hatred in them end up being a part of such groups. Okay, they don't belong to any particular faith. They don't belong to anything of any system that does any form of good to mankind. So if hatred can come together, I don't see why love cannot. I don't see why light cannot. And that's why I think that we should always, bring in together more people, an understanding, a strong understanding. What is taking, and each one of us, we're sitting here and we're thinking, I see posts like where people say, oh, the only spiritually awakened people I know are thousands of miles away. You know why we're strategically placed that way? Is so that individually we can affect the people in our lives. Don't block out the people in your lives. Just because you are spiritually awakened does not mean that your loved ones have to immediately snap out of their state of sleep, because each one of us has our own pace. You see, it is only through your light that they will even awaken. You don't have to sit around in an abusive relationship. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your light. Don't let it dim because all the things that you see around you. As I said, the God role in you is a responsibility that each one of us must hold on to seriously, because especially at this point of time in our world where we need to bring that out, we need to do something about it. There's so much of pain, right before your eyes. You see people being shot down, you see families losing loved ones, you see natural calamities taking away homes, sweeping away homes. And we should all come together as a community. When there can be groups that form for hatred, there can definitely be groups worldwide that can form for love, for protection. And I think that we are just afraid to love. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about, that we are so afraid to love because we are holding on to everything we've got. We think like, oh, if I give in my love, if I give my love, someone's going to take it for granted. I may be hurt. I may be this and I may be that. But I can tell you this, unless you do it, you will never evolve. If you bring up those walls and you think, trusting people is a huge risk, if you think that, you need to play it safe in life, you need to protect your people, you need to protect this and you need to protect that from people, how are you even going to learn? How are you even going to evolve? How are we as mankind supposed to move ahead with love and light? The only thing that will happen is each one of us will be afraid. We will be afraid as life progresses, because we are overwhelmed by the incidents that happen around us. We need to stop fearing all of this. Never mind whether these are conspiracies. Never mind who's behind any of these things that is happening around us. What matters at this point of time is what are we going to do together. That's what's going to matter. My dream, if I ever live long enough to realize it, whether it be this incarnation or another, I would love to create a huge global community of people who can give, receive, love freely without fear. Without fear. That's what's the most important. That's the most important thing that this world will ever need. And once you feel that way itself, you feel so safe to love. You feel so safe to share, to give, to receive. You don't feel bad in going out there and asking anyone for anything you need, because you know that person would give it to you, and you know that you're willing to give and share what you have too, and to love each other freely without fearing. That is what will, that kind of a community will change lives, will transform not just one small population. I feel that it will become an exponential growth over time, and people will start to see, because you see right now this world fears that. This world is so scared. Every single person is shutting themselves up within four walls because they don't trust anyone anymore. You can't go out to a place and enjoy yourself with your family because someone could shoot you in the head. You are scared of going out because, and you think that traveling to another country is unsafe. After a point of time, you wouldn't even want to step out of your door. And so what happens then? Where does all of this lead us? You see, at the end of the day, we need to find love. We need to be able to step out and find people who are willing to come together and build this whole world up again. And that can only happen if we bring out the God role in each one of us, the responsibility. It is not to fear. It is not to fear what's happening on the outside, but to bring out the God in you and me and play a role in bringing people together, to show them fearlessly that you can love, you can believe in love, you can give and receive and bless each other with all your heart and soul, and you can rebuild this world once all over again to what it was meant to be. We need to bring faith back into mankind. And even though this is just a group of maybe 20 people or 30 people, I believe that every single idea started with just a small group of people. Jesus had just a few disciples to start with. But look at his religion, look at his teachings, look at everything today globally. Everything started very small. So how would I know? I would like to say that it doesn't matter. Yesterday I was telling someone that if I have if God would think that my job here is done and he wants me to leave tomorrow morning, and this person asked me, so what about then after that? I said, well, I put all my work out there. Yes, I'm still writing my book. Yes, some of the things are still lying around. But should God decide that that's it, Aisha, you're coming home tomorrow morning, well, I have to go. And you know what? It's up to you, each one of you, whoever's reading my website and all of my work. It's up to you. I've done my job as according to God. As according to the God cells in me, believes that my job is done. Now I've passed on all the information. I've shared it. Now it's up to you. each one of you, the God in you, to go out there and share it with other people who need to listen to it. You see, that's how it's supposed to work. This is not my idea. This is not your idea. This is ours. Revolution of Light is not my idea. Revolution of Light is not just your idea. It's our idea. All right? Someone just had to do the job. I would have been just as happy if someone else did it. But I was given the responsibility. I'm grateful. I'm honored. But I also feel that at some point of time, at any point of time, like, anyone could pass away at any point of time. If I do today and I don't wake up tomorrow morning, I still know all my work is out there for you to go through, to share. Please don't be afraid to love. Please don't be afraid to share. There is nothing to fear. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? People don't trust you? Well, never mind. That's their journey, isn't it? Jehovah's Witnesses, they go from door to door. Did they ever stop going from door to door? I bet they've been doing it for decades. Did they stop going from door to door? How many people do you think they do it? I mean, so many businesses do that. Amway used to do it, still probably does it. They go door to door. Do you think Amway is a failed business? Well, I would say that they made a pretty big name from going door to door. All right? What I would say is that we all have to start small. We have to do it little by little. A little act each day goes a long way because the news spreads. It goes all the way, all over the world. That's how it spreads. Anything. I started off 20 years ago with very small things. I used to just say, I would just watch a lot of other people do the readings. I didn't know how to do a reading. I would just go out there. I don't know if any of you have ever remembered me way back, but I used to do this. Go into these groups where they said, okay, people can try out these readings. And I would go there, and out of maybe 20 or 30 posts that I see, I would just type something in a comment and just walk away. And sometimes I don't even come back to see if I was right. But sometimes they send me a private message and they say that what you said was right. That's how you grow, you see. People trust you. It takes time. It takes work. But it grows. It's meant to grow. It will grow. People will learn how to trust you. People will learn how to love. We have to teach them how to love again. We who have awakened have to teach the sleeping to love again, to trust again. Don't be afraid to love. Don't be afraid to take something from me. Don't be afraid to give me something if I need. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to work. And unless we learn how to, we learn how to do that ourselves, we cannot, as light workers, go out there and teach the world that. If I was to sit around and just say that I'm going to charge, maybe, I don't know, a lot of people had suggested me from different websites over the years saying, Aisha, you could make some $10 a minute. You can make $10, $15 a minute. Why are you sitting with people, your clients, for an hour for such much less money? I would say it's not the money. Whoever said it's about the money. Yes, I need the money to pay my bills, but I don't need more. I'm not greedy. I believe that God will provide His children. God provides because I'm part of that God source, and therefore God will provide. God will provide each one of us. And I would say that today I am proud of who I am. I believe that I'm doing my job as I meant to. I don't need to make $10 a minute to feel great about myself. I really don't. I need to make $10 an hour and I would still feel absolutely perfectly fine and happy and grateful that I made a difference in somebody's life. I've had clients who have come back to me after 10 years, 15 years, and they're still my clients, and they make great friends of mine because I worried more about making a difference in their lives every time they come to me, because they trust me, because they believe me. That's what matters to me and not their money. So it's about what you feel with your responsibility. When you are a part of something so massive, it's your power within that has to work. That power inside of you is so strong. It's unbelievable. It's magnificent. You can create anything you want out of your life. Anything. Yes, there's destiny. Yes, there's karma. Yes, there's soul contract. All of that. But some people who refuse to just stick by those walls, they create dreams. There have been magnificent human beings who've walked this very planet that you and I have, and they believed in the power inside of them. They believe that they're godlike, and they're right, godlike. So just make a difference in your life and in the lives of others. Teach yourself first to not fear life, to not fear to love. Because at the end of the day, we all only take away one thing. We don't take away the money we make. We don't take away our expensive cars. We don't take away our phones and laptops. We don't even take away the clothes that we wear. The only thing we take away is love. The memories that you create, the memories that you leave behind in the people who love you, the memories of how you have made a difference in the lives of people. So that's what's going to make a difference. So at the end of the day, I believe that the topic, the reason why I was asked to speak this topic tonight, I believe it was meant to, as always, but this was something that came across very strongly for me. To be godlike is to understand that you have everything that you need to create all that you need for yourself and this world. There is no need for you to fear of shortage of anything, because that's our biggest fear. Fear also involves fear of lacking things, fear of lacking money, fear of lacking love, fear of being left alone, fear of, all kinds of things. We constantly have begun to live in fear, absolute fear of everything. We fear losing people we love. We fear not having enough money. We fear a tragedy happening. We basically are all about fear. We need to get out of this fear zone. We need to get out of this fear zone first before we teach the world how to live out of fear. Out, as in literally out, not in fear. So this is what the topic is about tonight. That to be godlike is to understand the power inside of you. That you are a part of it, not out of ego, but out of love. Pure love for everything and for yourself. And that's how it's supposed to be. It's always been since creation. So whether or not I'm going to be breathing tomorrow morning, that's irrelevant. But for me, whatever I have shared with you over the years, all the information, everything that's out there, I want you to know that it's yours. You take it, you deliver it in the best way that you know your intuition says so. So that's the only way you are going to share, spread the news, because it's our news, not mine, not yours, ours. So go out there and do it, okay? I would like to hear your feedback so far. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you all. Well, if you do have any questions about anything that I've spoken so far, please go ahead and ask me. I'll be real quiet now, I promise. Anyone, if you have any questions or any views to share, please go ahead. Well, I believe I'm just one of them. As I said, this is not my concept and this is not my idea. I was meant to speak. I was meant to say this today. I was meant to share because it's all ours. Because it's meant to be all ours, always. And it's sometimes we just need to be reminded. One of us has to stand up and take the news from the other side and deliver it to us, all of us, so we remember it again. And then we pass it on to the others. So let's not anymore feel like you're alone, that you're here with no purpose. What is the purpose in my life? What is the purpose in my life? Everybody's like, what is the purpose in my life? The purpose is to be together. The purpose is we're here to learn, individually, collectively, to make a difference in your life and in the life of others. And that's what we're here for. To be godlike does not mean that you just separate yourself. You're never alone. Never. Sometimes I wish I could tell people or show people what I see with my eyes. I can see all the time, wherever I walk, I see people. There's never a person I've seen who is alone. I believe the loneliest person too has at least 3 or 4 guides and guardian angel, you know. We all need to get up there and do it. You know, we're just so afraid. Let me tell you this. One thing I would like to share, something very personal, but I would like to share anyway. When I started off many years ago, I basically started off as everyone else did, you know, like get into a spiritual community, do a little readings here and there, you know, and you start wondering if this is going to be, what's going to come out of this. And then after a point of time, I was also working, you know, so I didn't have much time to put into this as I do today. But I would say that I grew into this. But back then, I was like, I'm just going to make this a hobby. I'm just going to do this for service. You know, that's the only thing that I did. And even when I started to take this seriously, I was thinking that I'm not going to make any big changes in my life because I wanted that safety. You know, I wanted to be safe. We all do want safe. We want our family. We want to feel safe in a relationship. We want to have safety in our career because we're worried. Again, it's always a fear factor. The fear of losing this and the fear of losing that was also mine. You know, I wouldn't say that I was this perfect or this good and all the while. No, I had to grow too. I realized this the hard way a lot of times, and even up to recently, certain decisions that I had to make in my life, you know, they had some, I would say, difficult decisions. They were difficult decisions. I had to sacrifice some things. I had to kind of, you know, set aside some things that were important to me because there were more important things inside me, my soul, that mattered, you know. And some of you know what I'm talking about, where I had to come up with my identity. It costed me. For a lot of people, they would have thought, oh, you know, like Ayesha, she's going around saying she's this and she's that, and this was her past incarnation. Oh yeah, must have been another ego thing, you know, like, or I don't even know how many people looked at me differently than what it was originally intended for. But to be honest, I don't really care, because I knew that I would face all kinds of criticisms, all kinds of opinions from various kinds of people. I know I would be judged, but at the end of the day, it's me doing it for myself, doing it for my soul. I wanted release. I wanted to get away from having to pretend to be something else than I am. So I felt great at the end of the day. Every time someone said to me that this is what you said, I felt great. I felt like, yes, that's me. Yes, that is me. You know, it wasn't like it's not a title. I don't consider any of my past life as a title. You know, being Krishna's consort, Radhe, it's not a title I earned. It was an incarnation. It had its purpose. Today, I use that name because of the relationship that I still do have with him. But other than that, I don't use that as a way of promoting my business. No, definitely not. This is not something that I would like to include in my work, because the Revolution of Light is a completely different identity of its own. And I don't like to be, you know, classified as someone who belongs to a certain religion or anything like that, because that's how this world looks at it. Unfortunately, a grand scale of people would look at it as a religious thing than an ascended master. So I would say that each one of us, we are afraid. We have that fear. We live in that fear. What if I say this? What if I say that? Would I lose this? Would I lose that? But I would tell you that be yourself. Be yourself, please. You have no idea how much of a relief it brought me. It has brought me in my life today, in my soul. Never mind my life. Yes, I did end up breaking a few, you know, hearts here and there. I ended up, you know, hurting people. But at the end of the day, I had to be truthful to my soul. I had to be truthful to my soul. I wouldn't say that revealing all of this has been just a cakewalk all the way. It was hard. It was hard. I believe that there have been people who I've been very close with who felt hurt by this, but I can say to them, all I can say to them is that at the end of the day, I had to do it because I felt like I can't always please other people and in the process hurt myself or deny myself of who I really am. And I believe when each one of us has a spiritual awakening, you know, we go through this. So don't feel bad about it either. Don't feel like, oh, you know, I can't tell my family this, I can't share this with anyone. But after a point of time, you will. after a point of time, you will not be afraid to do it because it will matter more. You will learn how to see the priorities. And let me tell you this, even if at this point of time you're saying there's no way I'm going to tell anybody about my spiritual experiences because they will all think I'm crazy. But let me tell you this, at some point you will. Even if you don't do it this time around, you will. Because that's how it's supposed to work. That's how you're supposed to face your fear. That's how you bring up the God-like person inside of you. Well, Deborah, I would say that it's all, about learning. We all grow. People shut themselves because of fear. But after a point of time, I feel that they don't know what to do. You see, we're always sitting around thinking, what's my purpose as a light worker? So I'm awakened, so I have these gifts, so I go on the internet, I meet the spiritual people in the community. What after that? What's next? A lot of us stagnate because we don't know what to do with it after that. Okay, because to be very frank, most of us meet each other online. You come online, you have these experiences. I think a lot of us do that. Even me, I did that. The first thing I did when I started having all of these experiences, I wanted to check online to see if I could find anything that resonates with me. And I did. I bet a lot of you did too, right? So when you came in here, you see people who are like-minded. You go around, fumbling around, and after a point of time, you read some books, you see people doing these readings, and then you're like, okay, now what? Now what? And you hear people arguing. There's some bomb blast somewhere, or there is a terrorist attack, and everybody's sitting around like, okay, so what next? So I'm supposed to just sit here and be helpless and hopeless? No, of course not. This is not where it ends. This is where it begins. The real spiritual awakening happens when you get out of your internet and do something with your life, making a difference in the lives of other people. It does not end with you realizing what your spiritual gifts are. It does not end with you reading a couple of books. It does not end when you find out which starseed you are. It does not end there. It begins. It begins. What you do with all of that is what begins. This is not about you realizing who you are. You've always known who you are. It's about you making a difference in this world with what you know who you are. Okay? Well, your gifts will grow, Caitlin. For all of us, like I said, that's just that all of these things. Let me tell you, I've had these gifts since I was very young, like 2 or 3 years old. And yes, I use my gifts on an everyday basis because this is my work. I'm online 12, 16 hours a day for like so many years. And yes, I do use my gifts. But you know what? It's after a point of time, it's like using your ears and your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You only use it and then you don't know what to do next with it. I see my guide, he's sitting over here. All right, I see him. Okay, he's a cute guide. But how often do I sit and just stare at my cute guide? That's not all there is to it. All right, you want to know what you do with what's next. And after a point of time, you want to move on. You don't want to just stay there with your gifts. Gifts are just a part of the process. They will evolve as you move on. They will evolve. So don't worry about it. Well, Shel, as far as guides are concerned, any one of us can become guides in between incarnations or instead of incarnations. Sometimes, if you have too much of karma, one good way of not having to incarnate but still shed off a little bit of your karma is to become a guide. Because what happens is you're helping someone else to go through life, and you experience it too with them. And therefore, your karma is reduced over time without you having to incarnate. That's exactly what I was telling Melissa, that we have to stop fearing this world. There's no need to fear this world. That does not mean that all of us have to run out there and protest. You know what I mean? That's not what I mean. What I mean is that we have to get out there and we have to share that love. The part where we teach people not to fear to love each other again. No, pets don't have spirit guides. Patty Ho, the only way you can actually even find out what your purpose is to allow yourself to experience life per se. That's how you experience. That's how you even experience life per se. Okay? Well, they don't really just chill out there, Rohan, but they do. You know, like of course they do rest. They need their rest. They do rest, and they do hang out around you. And if you can see and feel them, experience them, of course that happens too. You can communicate with them. They're fun. My guide is fun, great fun to hang out with. Well, I guess Shiva, this, as I said earlier, this is not where I can offer you a private consultation, but this is a live discussion. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and you found this useful, all the information. Please share with as many people as you can, not as a way of promoting this video or my work, but as a way of passing on our message, is what we discussed tonight. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. Have an amazing, amazing week ahead. I love you all. Namaste.